It's good to see you, Gov. What is the path that belies?
I'm a big shot now?
Oh, you're a big shot. You're a big shot in the party.
Okay.
You're a big shot in the party, and I think you're part of the leaders of this country going into the future. No question in my mind. That's why I would have loved to have seen you in the conversation in this race. But you make your own choice. You're always welcome here to make the case to the American people, Gov. So where is the path here for Nikki Haley to win against the hegemon that is Trump?
Yeah, look, I mean, the path is 47 more states, even after South Carolina. So, look, she's the underdog. She accepts that. She knows she's down a little bit in South Carolina. She was down 30, 40 points in New Hampshire before she wiped all the other candidates out, got within about 10. She's raised a lot of money. She has the resources. And after New Hampshire, this has never been just about South Carolina. This has always been about South Carolina, Michigan, Super Tuesday, playing in a wider field, allowing the general GOP base to have their say. So the fact that 2 states or maybe even 3 states might go for Trump doesn't mean that you just ignore 47 other states. There's a whole process to have out here. You know, I was thinking about this coming on. You know, just because you're the underdog and you're down by a few points in the first quarter doesn't mean you walk off the court and give up the game, right? That's not the way it's done. So I think what she said today was right. It's very American. She's gonna stay in there, make sure there's a choice, hold Donald Trump accountable, show the Republican Party that there's an alternative, and at the end of the day, it's about winning in November. And she trounces Biden in November. Trump has a nail biter in November. She wins other seats for Republicans. Trump, as he did in 22 and 20 and 18, loses seats. So the campaign really hasn't started in most of those other states. So she has the resources. She's going to make the case, and it's exactly what everybody should want to see.
I agree with the last point because of the stinky party system. They've been trying to push her out, and we see what's happening on the Democratic side. They only do what's good for the parties, not for the nation. She's got money because a lot of people within that party and into the center don't want Trump. But let me push back on her own premise. I'm not kissing the ring. I think she has been kissing the ring. And it's one thing to not do a lot of interviews, which has also been her decision, which I don't understand because I think she's good in interviews. But she has been kissing the ring. So how do you balance not pissing off the base in your party by not going after things that she would certainly go against anybody who's a Democrat, and showing that she will kiss the ring?
She's kissing the ring. She's been tearing at Trump over the last month, absolutely pulling out his record every which way.
She's been saying more, but she is thoughtful and delicate in how she goes at Trump. She has not treated Trump even the way she treated the guys on the debate stage, which I thought really helped distinguish her. You really believe she's been taking it to Trump the way you would?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, look, I mean, she doesn't have to go the way I do it or the way other folks have done it. But 2 things. The way she's run this race, guess what? She was the last one standing. She wiped everybody else out. So to criticize how she's gone about in the races isn't quite fair. And over the last month, as it became a one-on-one race, I think she really did take it to him. And I think Trump is furious with her. I think Trump expects the party to bow down. And frankly, she hit it right on the head today as well. The party bosses, the senators and governors and all these folks that are surrounding themselves with Trump, privately, none of them respect Trump. None of them think he's going to win solidly in November. They're all scared about him, but they're weak. They are weak, and she is strong, and she's not going to bow down to it. And that's one of the things I love about her. She's gritty. She's tough. She's doing what Americans should do, which is fight to the end and not give up just because other people say you should give up. Look, the Republican National Committee, as you know, is virtually bankrupt right now. Why? Because Trump's at the top, and they can't raise money with Trump at the top. Trump spent $50 million of his own money on his legal fees, probably another $50 million to go. So even if he's the nominee, he's so weak of a candidate. Nobody wants to see Donald Trump be the nominee more than Joe Biden and the Democrat Party. That should tell the Republicans something to wake up in those 47 other states, and let's give America a real option here, a real opportunity to turn this thing around.
Understood. And absolutely, the more process, the more voices, the better. And the governor is welcome on here, the ambassador, anytime she wants. The invitation is open for the pendency of the election. Same for you, Governor, and beyond the election.
I will make the pitch.
Always welcome to have you, Governor Sununu. Continued success, and thank you. We'll be right back.
Thank you, buddy.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.